Good day, and again, welcome to our series, the Digital Inclusion in Land Administration for the Kitingati Tooling Planning Podcast. Today is another day, another discussion, and we have the pleasure of hosting a true expert in the planning field. And yeah, so please give a warm welcome to Mr. Meshack Baloyi, a professional town planner specializing in municipal infrastructure support and land use planning and management. So it's basically the land administration field together with development and urban design as a whole. And he has earned multiple degrees in numerous awards in the planning field, and he is a product of the great Wits University and also the University of Pretoria, and again the University of Vienna. So Mr. Baloyi has established himself as one of the most respected voices in their field. And one fun fact about our guest is that my surname and his surname are basically or kind of like the same. This is because they stem from one origin. And so, yeah, so it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Baloyi to this podcast, who famously said, our attitudes can make us or break us. Wow, such a great inspiration.
So, Mr. Baloyi, can you just give us a taste on what your interests are in planning and what you actually do?
Maybe just clarity when you say what I actually do you mean like the current employment and or maybe something related to that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, my name is Meshack Baloyi. I'm a town planner. Have been actually practicing town planning officially from 2011,
Okay.
and I think in terms of my interest in within the field of planning, I'll say more on your spatial planning and land use management.
Okay.
That has been my focus for the past 11 or 12 years, if I'm not mistaken. And very little there and there on issues of strategic planning, but
Yeah.
the main interest and the focus has been always on spatial planning and land use management. That I think I love dearly because I believe is the heartbeat of town planning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everybody can be a strategic planner.
Yeah.
You can. That's why when you look on the issue of IDP, which is the main strategic plan that we use in town planning, you'll
Mm,
find that people who actually do IDPs are not even town planners. These
mm,
so-called IDP officers. It's because strategic planning it's there in many other fields. People are
yeah.
trained to plan strategically, but spatial planning and land use management is the heartbeat of town planning. That's what we pride ourselves in because that's our specialty, if I may call it that, which
Mm,
is unique to us as town planners. So that is more of my interest, and
mm,
So far, I've been in terms of employment. Currently, I'm working for National Department of COGTA under the unit called Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent. The
Okay.
focus, as the name says, we're supporting local municipalities to improve on service delivery, particularly associated with infrastructure development and maintenance and so forth. So that's currently my focus, and that's where I'm busy rendering my services on the area of spatial planning and land use management. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's very nice. I believe that your expertise and experience will be insightful for my audience. Um, yeah, so just to give a little brief of today's discussion, so we'll be on language management and digital inclusion, which are seemingly two different concepts, but they are actually closely related. So in the modern society, I believe that digital inclusion and access to technology are essential for effective land use planning. And it also can help to ensure that land use plans are inclusive and transparent. So, going to the first question that I have for you today. Uh, so, what are some of the current challenges that you face around land use planning, and what initiatives have been implemented to address some of these challenges? Uh, just yeah, just that, just that.
Uh, I think the current challenges in the area of land use planning, uh, for me, what I've witnessed so far as
Yeah,
maybe being the main challenges currently
yeah,
is that we don't seem to have or
yeah,
perhaps to invest more on
yeah.
consumer education,
Oh, yeah.
or perhaps workshopping the communities at large on issues of spatial planning and or issues of planning in general.
Mm,
Hence, you find that there are a lot of illegal land uses, which I think it's a common challenge, irrespective whether you are at City of Johannesburg or you are
yeah,
in Nelson Mandela Bay or in Collins Chabane down in Limpopo. Issues
yeah,
of illegal land uses, they cut across all types of municipalities and all types of regions or all types of
mm,
provinces. So I think for me, that when I look at the core or perhaps the cause of that is that we are perhaps not investing much in terms of educating the people in terms of
mm,
what they need to do to get the land use rights.
mm,
And the reason I'm saying that is that when in the past 11 years, as I was working in various municipalities,
mm,
when you find the culprits of so-called illegal land uses,
yeah,
you serve them with notices for compliance, and you tell them they must come to the municipality, and you'll find that as they come, they seems to indicate that they were not aware that
mm,
they need, for example, a consent to
yeah,
have a
mm,
spaza shop, a consent to have a tavern. So for me, that really speaks to us not putting much effort in terms of educating the people
mm,
around issues of planning, in terms of their role, in terms of what we expect, in terms of issues of land use and vice versa. So I think that for me has been the core problem that I've seen over the years, the issue of illegal land use, because it has a tendency of cutting across various issues of planning, where I can talk about the issues of services as well, wherein you are overloading on the existing services because you have whole lot of back rooms, and we are hiring them, or perhaps you are letting them to a whole number of people who are adding into that services that were supposed to be consumed by a certain number of people. So also spatially, also visually,
Yeah.
some of these things, because they are not authorized, you find that they are not visually appealing to the eye. Spatially as well, there's that impact that it has spatially on some of the policies. So
Yeah.
I view it as the core challenge that we are facing, irrespective of where are you located in South Africa, be it Cape
Yeah.
Town or whatever. The issue of illegal land use, is the main challenge currently in planning, and us not attending to issues of consumer education or educating the public in general. It's fueling this issue to grow even bigger than what we've seen over the years. So I think,
Yeah.
in terms of responding to what we have done or I have done in the past
Yeah.
to address this, I think we did some road shows,
Yeah.
to educate people. We hand over pamphlets which are having the ABC to Z of, for lack of a better word or better term,
Yeah.
of planning that really defines what needs to be done, from whether we are talking about the submission of application or the submission of building plans or their participation in general in the policy
Mm.
making and so forth. So we detail that, we package them in the form of smaller booklets or brochures that we hand over as we have these road shows. And bit by bit, you start see the improvement in terms of people coming forward to rectify some of these illegal land uses. They'll come forward that I also have some back rooms. Can
Mm.
you
Yeah.
guide me? How do I get them approved? I also have a tavern. Can you guide me? How do I get it approved? So that for me, it has worked, and I believe if various councils across the country can invest more in doing that, we can
Yeah.
be able to deal with these issues of illegal land uses.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
That was insightful. Very insightful. So, what I got is basically the issues of unconsciousness, people not being aware of what's going on, and then they end up doing
Mm.
things illegal without knowing. Um, yeah, yeah, because I also have an uncle who, I think I was doing my second year. Yeah, he once tells me about what to do on his property. But by then
Mm.
I didn't know much, so it was just a
Mm.
touch
Mm.
of here and there. Yeah, so yeah, that was insightful. And so another question that I have is, how do you ensure that these land use plans reflect the perspectives and needs of these diverse communities that you talked about? Some not knowing, particularly those who may not have the traditional engagement channels with their local government.
It's a very difficult one, and maybe
Mm.
it's one of the challenge which impact on our job as town planners, because
Mm. Mm.
planning, it's political,
Mm.
and we also operate in a political environment, I'm saying it's political in a sense that you are dealing with competing needs, and sometimes you need to strike a balance. Then it's an issue of which are you advocating most for, and that when you look at it, then it can be viewed as political. But it's a
Yeah.
very challenging environment.
Yeah.
The best approach to it to ensure that issues are catered for in these various planning policies and tools is that issue of engagement,
Yeah.
because sometimes sitting in your offices, you might not see things the way they are on the ground. So it always helps to, as you do, whether be it a spatial policy or land use policy, you have a thorough engagement with the communities that will utilize that policy or that particular plan. So we normally have those channels of engagement,
Yeah.
wherein we also go beyond just having public participation where you call people in a hall. We go beyond that because we normally also look at various
Yeah.
groups within the community which are critical for us to consult, be either some business related groupings, groupings of women
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people with disabilities, those various groupings which that they are critical in terms of you also getting issues that are affecting various groups within the community. So we go beyond just putting people in a hall. We call those special groups. We sit with them. We engage. We have those focused discussion on areas where we feel like we need to get their input in the broader processes that we're embarking on at that particular time. So that for me, it helps for you to get a variety of inputs. But like I said, it goes down to now having to sit down, having all these thousand needs which are there in the community, and now you have to now look at them and be able to then have some form of prioritizing them. Because at the end of the day, for example, if we are talking about you doing a pricing plan or maybe an IDP, that the outcome will have to be a list of projects which are part of that particular plan. Then obviously some projects might not make it either due to the availability of budgets and all those things. So it goes down to you now having to do the difficult task. You have collected all the needs, you have collected all the issues on the ground, but as you sit now and look at this and the relevance of some of these things on what you are doing, then that becomes the bigger task that we find ourselves having to deal with as town planners at the end of the day. But to get
Yeah.
that those issues on the ground, like I said, consultation is the key.
Yeah.
And then as if you are able to engage thoroughly, then you are able to ensure that all the people, their needs are at least catered for, even though you are
Yeah.
not able to cater for all the needs in the community, but at least you would have tried to have a balance at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, that was insightful. Yeah. So consultation is key. Um, so just to touch a bit on digital inclusion. Since we're moving into the modern world and we're trying to incorporate everyone into the planning process, Do you think digital inclusion is being effective, especially to small townships? For instance, since you are from, I'm assuming you're from Limpopo,
Yeah.
Malamlele. Yeah, that's where I come from. Yeah, do you think it's efficient there? Like integrating these people using digital services for them to participate to participate in these planning processes.
I can't say it's was the question, is it effective or what?
Yeah.
Maybe let me get
Is
that.
it is it being effective uh, throughout the planning process in terms of participation, how people engage, and how you gather the data for you to make more transparent and inclusive plans?
I'll say it's effective, but it does disadvantage others.
Mm,
In
mm,
a sense that not all the people have access to technology.
mm, mm,
So as much as we will really want to uh, have everything
yeah,
now using technology, because I will give you an example. If we were to have a community engagement of some sort,
yeah,
you could easily have an online platform where you share a link via the social media platforms
yeah,
to say we will have a community engagement at 5 o'clock. Here's the link and the password, and
yeah,
all the community members will be able to then be connect to such a platform and engage. You can even
mm,
use it to share these big documents, your IDPs and all these things
yeah,
through those platforms. You share the links and say, here are the links to download the IDP. You can study it. We will be discussing and
mm,
finalizing our budget for that draft IDP. But the question is, are all the people having access to it, to
yeah,
this technology? And the straight answer is no, it's not all the people who have that. We know
mm,
that as much as this digital whatever works for easy access of information, easy access of various
yeah,
engagement platforms, but they come at a cost to the user in the form of data. As long
yeah,
as we as a country we don't have, we're
mm,
still charging to connect to internet. I can't say
yeah,
this platform is it's effective. I find
yeah.
it's convenient. Maybe that's the word we should
Oh,
use. It's
mm,
convenient to use in terms of planning, but it's not as effective as we want it to be, because there are still people who don't have access to various digital platforms that are out there, which we will love as planners
mm,
to use to conduct various planning and various engagement sessions.
mm,
Yeah, so it's convenient, but it's not as effective as you would want it to be.
mm. Yeah, I understand. I understand. With these inequalities, yeah, it's highly impossible to achieve all of that. So yeah, so one last question. So partnering with the community-based organizations, as planners, how can you engage with these community-based organizations to understand better the circumstances or the situations of a certain area? Yeah, for effective planning. So this can be the civil society, or yeah, especially in townships, because my focus is on townships. So yeah.
So the question is, how can we do what?
how can
How can we
you
engage?
engage and partner with the community-based organizations to better understand the concerns of the people within a certain community? Because at some point they are the representatives of these communities. So how do you work with them to achieve
Yeah,
yeah.
I think in one of the question, I did highlight how the
Mm,
importance of us engaging these various community organizations.
mm,
Like you said, they sometimes serve as the voice of the voiceless
mm, mm,
in the society. So we always when we talk of stakeholders in planning,
mm,
these community, whether be it non-profit organization or whatever form of community groupings,
mm,
we view them as important stakeholders that we need to consult.
mm,
So I believe already there are very healthy partnerships on the ground, irrespective of where are you conducting your planning. If you
mm,
are a
mm,
planner in the local government space, there's always that a room for you to have some form of relationship with various community organization.
mm, mm,
And that's it's important to also keep that relationship healthy because we need each other year in year out.
mm,
Unfortunately, we do have to engage.
mm,
Be it the engagements are related to IDP, which is a yearly it's a it's a year what do we call it? It's an annual
yeah,
exercise that we do every year, you know.
mm,
So
mm,
we need those platforms to always those relationships to be always healthy so that whenever we need to engage,
yeah,
we are able to then just call them into
mm,
one room and we're able to then have a fruitful engagement. But I think also we need to maybe go a step further
yeah,
and partner with them on various projects, you know. Let it not be just engagement on the issue of participation, but also partner on various community projects. I'll give you an example
mm,
on the very same problem that I highlighted earlier of illegal land uses. If you have various community groups which are able to assist in policing some of these things, because that another challenge that maybe forgot to mention earlier is that
yeah,
you as various councils or various municipalities, you are not able to have the eyes and ears to see and listen to everything happening on the ground. So sometimes
mm,
some of the things will happen without your knowledge. Be it illegal land uses, they will happen and mushroom to a point where now it's you are not even able to control it. But if you are having very good relationship with various community formations,
yeah,
you are able to then utilize these structures at times to assist you. That's why I'm saying the issue of partnering. They assist you with other form of planning on the ground, which as the municipality might not be able to have eyes and ears to be able to deal with. So
mm,
that's why I always value their contribution in planning. Like I said, they are the voice of the voiceless at times, and that's why
yeah,
we
yeah,
need to keep these relationships healthy and ensure that we consult and we workshop each other more often, because sometimes you need to equip them also to for them to be able to assist you on the ground. You need
mm,
to equip them with the right knowledge, with the right skills, so that at least they are able to know and differentiate some of the things that are there on the ground. When you then engage, you are able to engage and have fruitful discussions, because all the parties are able to understand the issues of spatial planning, issues of land use, because you always partner, you always come together and
Mm,
and make sure that you blend together with various community groups.
mm, mm. Yeah, this was a very insightful discussion. Ah, yeah. So just to conclude, all we can say, planners can neutralize these challenges affecting land use planning by taking these comprehensive approaches that you just outlined, um, which include the literacy, making people aware, and multiple engagement options, make them available for these people, and working with these community-based organizations, and I believe this speaks to prioritizing accessibility to these plans that planners provide. And so, by adopting these approaches, I believe that planners can ensure that digital inclusion is considered in all the phases of land use planning, and communities are fully informed and empowered to participate in these decision-making processes. So yeah, I believe that was a very insightful and productive discussion. Um, it's gonna play a good role in my podcast. So the name of I'm gonna send you the details of the podcast. So after it's published, you can go and see the work that we've been doing as a class. Yeah, but thank you very much for this discussion. Yeah, I appreciate the effort. Yeah.
No, thanks, and good luck for the rest of your research.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
but
it's a long road, but we'll fight it.
yeah,
Nah, thank you.
no,
Have a great day.
no, thanks, bye.
Bye.
I hope y'all had a great time listening to this insightful discussion and grasping all of that great knowledge shared by our guest, because I did. It was a great conversation, which I believe will help me unpack my research into great depths, considering the aspects that were touched on this episode. And yeah, okay, that's it for today. Let's meet again on the next episode. Bye.